Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Movies by McManus podcast. The podcast where we break down movies, comics, TV, books, whatever kind of media you're into, in the context of who created it and what effect it's trying to have on the world. I'm your host, Greg. I'm with my brother, Mike.
We're out here in nature again.
We're out here in nature. We'll be in nature for the time being. And today we're going to be breaking down the 2020 film Promising Young Woman, directed by Emerald Fennell. And Emerald Fennell, this is her directorial debut, but she's been an actress and a screenwriter for a while. She was a screenwriter. She wrote on The Crown and Killing Eve, and she's been an actress for a while. She was never really a leading actress, but she's been around and been in the industry and basically knows the industry. So I've said this a couple of times about there are some directors where it's very obvious that it's a directorial debut of not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but it's very much you can tell the first timeness of it all. And in this one, while it is her kind of first movie, you can tell this is someone who's been around cinema for a while.
I would never have guessed that this was a directorial debut.
Yeah.
I remember you saying about Liz Garbus with Lost Girls that it was very obvious that you could tell she was coming from documentaries because some of the shots. I mean, you would know better than me, but the fact that you're telling me that, that's the only reason I would know. I never would have guessed it.
Yeah, well, and she was also nominated for Best Director. And it was the first time that two women were nominated for Best Director at the same time. Because Emerald Fennell was nominated for this, and then Chloe Zhao was nominated for Nomadland, and that ended up and she ended up winning for that. So it's not only that... and she was also, it was it's only the third time in history that, a woman director was nominated for Best Director and her movie was nominated for Best Picture, of Nomadland with Chloe Zhao and Promising Young Woman with Emerald Fennell is the second and the third time that happened.
So this was up for Best Picture?
This was up for Best Picture. And Carey Mulligan was up for Best Actress. And Emerald Fennell was up for Best Director. And they didn't win any of them, but I still think it's well deserved because I like this movie. I think that this movie particularly has such an interesting style to it. I said this in my breakdown, and Emerald Fennell has said this in interviews, of that she wanted to kind of make the most feminine movie possible, where it's very clear that this was a movie for women by a woman, and you kind of get that in a lot of the production design of from the beginning. This film has a lot of light pinks, a lot of light colors, a lot of neon, and the soundtrack is very it's disco pop, and it's songs that are mostly marketed towards women. There's a lot of Britney Spears in the soundtrack. There's a Paris Hilton song in the soundtrack.
Which I had forgotten that Paris Hilton even attempted to be a pop star at one point.
I know. I didn't I forgot about that too. And I thought it was kind of hilarious that they have a Paris Hilton song.
Shout out to the homie Bo Burnham.
Shout out to Bo Burnham. And also
killing the game.
Killing the game.
For obvious reasons. Inside.
Yeah, well, you watched Inside of it does kind of perfectly capture how everybody felt in those couple of months in quarantine. It was you
on steroids.
Yeah, but you had this anxiety of you're watching the finished product of his special, and a lot of the special is him just having anxiety about like not having the special done yet.
I feel like that was like what he was like kind of cutesy angle, like trying to present it as, but like, yeah. I mean, really, it was like methodically done and like obviously slaved over,
right,
and meticulously, prepared and written. You know, I'm not knocking anything about it. I thought it was like literally a fucking masterpiece. Like but the whole I'm not saying there isn't an element of that wasn't real. Yeah. I'm just saying like, you know, it's obviously way more than just like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. Like, it's like, dude, no, that's a perfect song.
Well, I thought that the idea behind that was kind of like this anxiety of like the world's kind of falling apart, but you still feel like you have to be productive. Of like, there's an anxiety of kind of like as an artist or kind of just like as a working American in general of like, you always have to be productive and you always have to be creating something, and like being trapped in a room as a like creative person or just like a super productive person and going crazy because you feel like you need to be creating something, but also like you are literally trapped and like the world is kind of ending for a couple of months.
I don't know. I took it a little bit differently. Like, I took it more as like that was his way of dealing with being trapped.
Well, I also felt like that was, I mean, I felt like it was definitely partially that too. I mean, he himself like said he never wanted to do a special again, and then he kind of did. I mean, it wasn't like a special like how he normally does in front of an audience, but it was kind of a performance.
When I first heard like that was happening, I kind of was like, how interesting could that be? You know, you film something in your apartment, and that's it. And then when I first saw the Netflix the song playing, I was like, this is a great song. Yeah. And the way it was shot and stuff. But anyway, we should get back to the topic at hand. But that's all to say. You know, shout out to Bo Burnham.
He's great in this movie.
He is.
Well, Emerald Fennell. So basically, we'll get into the plot of basically Cassandra, our protagonist, played by Carey Mulligan. She's on this kind of mission of she's a medical school dropout, and what she does is she goes to bars and clubs and pretends to be drunk. Basically a drunk, helpless girl at the bar.
Right. Because
she knows that creepy dudes are going to pick her up and try to take advantage of her. And that's when she flips the script on them. Because she was always sober to begin with. And things are kind of left ambiguous. Clearly that, like, some of the men are left off with a warning.
And
like
some are
the
killed.
McLovin character is left off with a warning. But people always, especially when I talk about this movie, they always mention the fact that she's keeping a list of people's names, and some are in red and some are in black. And we see the two characters, the one guy in the beginning and McLovin, we know both their names are in black, and we know both of them are left off with a warning. But we never see...
Well, the first one is a murder.
No, the first one, because his friend says that like he was alive at the end.
But she walks out of there covered in blood.
Does she walk out of there covered in blood?
The very first one. The very first.
Very
first scene.
Well, I don't think that was like the first guy that we saw. Like the first time we see her like flipping the script, and you see that she was sober, because later on his friend, we see the guy with the fedora, and he was like, "Oh, you're that crazy woman that went home with him."
My memory is the first scene that we see her doing that, and she's leaving covered in blood. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know if she's necessarily killing them. She's doing something.
We're not told. It's not clear.
We
my takeaway was that Summer being killed and Summer being killed, because even when she goes and prepares to kill that lawyer, but she has a hitman waiting for him.
Is it necessarily a hitman though, or is it somebody who is like going to go in and scare them? Because
it was a hitman.
The way I saw it was that if she's murdering these people, that kind of goes against the point of what she's doing.
I guess, yeah, because she does show a tendency to ultimately not really harm people.
Yes.
Like with the young girl at the diner, and then later on with the woman who she gets to think she cheated on her husband.
Yeah. Which I kind of thought the red has to mean something else. Of maybe she is harming them in some way. But I don't think it's necessarily that she's killing these people.
It's not 100% clear either way. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know. I took it as like that's the assumption, but who knows?
But I also thought that like it kind of goes against what her overall mission is if she's killing these people, if she's killing these men. Because what her kind of like goal is to like basically change people's perception on who these men are. You know, her main like kind of inciting incident, or like kind of why she started out on this, is because the guy Al Monroe sexually assaults her friend Nina, and then goes on to become like great success as a doctor. But not only that, is that everybody is trying to...
Well, you left a pretty big part out.
And then Nina kills herself.
Right. That's the implication. That's also never explicitly said. It's never explicitly said.
No, she says it to the dean explicitly.
That she killed herself?
That she killed herself.
I don't remember that.
I believe so.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, she's morally... She's a little morally ambiguous, because she's not like 100% of the time, like she's got a lot of vigilante in her.
Yeah.
You know, so
my point was that she's not out for like physical harm. She's not really out for like physical harm. Her idea of revenge is more like, you believe that you're a good person who made a mistake. Or you believe that you're a good person who did what they had to do in the circumstances, and I'm here to show you that you're not a good person who made one mistake. You're a shitty person, and you're not a
you're part of a problem. You're part of a larger problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you're part of a larger problem, and that especially that she's like explaining to. She's explaining to the McLovin character of like, every night I go out, pretend that I'm drunk, and somebody picks it up. Without fail, somebody will do it. And I feel like if some of these people she's killing, then that kind of goes against her entire goal.
Yeah, but I think she's not 100% pure. She's got some she's not like, you know, she's not above certain things. Like, she's got a dark energy to her.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. What I kind of was saying about changing people's perspective of it, because what kind of triggers Cassie more than anything is like how people are constantly saying like how great of a guy this Al Monroe guy is, while like she knows all the horrible things, and like he himself even believes that he's a good guy. At the end, at the end in the final scene, he keeps saying like, no, I'm a good guy. That he made one mistake once. That's what he believes. Yeah. Kind of the murder at the end is, I believe she goes there knowing that she's going to get killed.
Well, that gets kind of revealed by the whole end with her plan of having the police and releasing, and I'll be honest, that ending took me completely by surprise.
Well, I think that how the ending is, it's more in line with what her goal is, because her goal isn't to she doesn't want to just like enact physical harm against these men who wronged her, because if she does that, then the story is...
That's not what I mean. I was surprised that she died.
Oh, I gotcha.
But you know what? It's also in keeping with something that we've been talking about a lot with these new movies, is that shit is not tied up in a fucking neat bow anymore in film.
Right.
You know, I almost should have expected a left turn like that, because that's what happens with these new movies.
Right.
The fucking good guy doesn't always win.
Yeah.
Good woman.
Yeah.
In this case. But I was just surprised, because it's obviously such a fucking heavy-handed feminist movie the whole time.
Right.
And then at the end, you're like, this is what we were waiting for?
Yeah.
For the fucking protagonist to get snuffed out with a fucking pillow?
Right.
Like, I was like, what the fuck what?
So apparently in the original script, she gets killed, and like Al Monroe and his friends like get away with it. And she kind of decided, like, I can't end the movie that way. Like, first of all, Cassie wouldn't have went in there without, like, a backup plan. Like, she's just too methodical of a character to have done that. And the way I saw the ending is just, like, for her, since, like, what gets to her more than anything is the fact that everybody thinks Al Monroe is such a great guy, that if she had went in there and just killed him, the story would have been this great guy who had a great career who got killed by a crazy woman, and how tragic is that?
Sure. Yeah.
But instead, it's him getting arrested at his wedding, and people realizing that this guy we've been singing praise about for so long is actually a horrible person. And now, by the end of the movie, everybody sees who Al Monroe really is, and everybody else who thought that he was this amazing person now sees him for who Cassie has seen him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
years.
think the point is about one person in particular.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, but I you know, like, I think even like a bigger point is just like the whole like silence is violence thing.
Right.
You know, with Bo Burnham's character, where he's like, well, you know, I don't really want to rock the boat, and like that whole shit.
Yeah.
Which is like could be more dangerous than
exactly.
As far as like perpetuating, you know, systematic problems.
And
I mean, it's a hard thing to wrap up with any ending, because it's an ongoing issue.
Exactly.
So it's like, what are you gonna do? Just have her roll up with a fucking AK-47 and spray the fucking bachelor party?
Well,
like, that's not.
Yeah, that's
she's trying to show that it's, you know, to be honest, if they did get away with it, that might even show the point more of like, this is a problem that's gonna persist. I'm not saying that would be a good. I'm not saying that would be a good thing. I'm just saying, like, you know, the point. The point again is not about like one person, one incident. It's that it's an ongoing issue, and I don't know, that might exemplify it even more. Even though it would be the more unfortunate ending that we're rooting for. But I was taken aback by the fact that she's killed at the end.
Yeah, well, Emerald, like the thing of rolling up to the bachelor party and basically like ending it like Kill Bill style of like she gets violent revenge against all of her rapists.
The point. Yeah.
Emerald Fennell was like, I can't end the movie that way, because that's just not like a realistic way of like how this would happen, and two, how this character would react in that situation, like what her version of revenge would be. It wouldn't be rolling up and killing everybody.
They do a good job. Or what's her name?
Carey Mulligan.
No, what's the director?
The director is Emerald Fennell.
So she does a good job of showing like the whole system that's in place that like keeps silence or keeps like victims from seeing justice or even being heard at all. You know, from obviously the perpetrator himself to his friends who are, you know, kind of justifying up until the very end, like comedically at the end, like his best friend was like, dude, you didn't do anything wrong with a dead body next to you. Who that actor was great. Like
Max Greenfield,
the douchebag friend.
Yeah,
he killed it. Like
he's Max Greenfield in real life is a hardcore Islanders fan, and he's hilarious on Instagram.
Oh man.
So
listen, we're from Long Island, but you Islanders fans, you might be some of the most fucking annoying people I've ever seen in my goddamn life. I mean, really, with your fucking sport nobody gives a flying fuck about. Jesus Christ, get over your fucking selves.
It's true. It does a great job of kind of because it's true of just like it's multiple people who are responsible.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's like the dean. Yeah. You know, the dean. The friend, the perpetrator, the Bo Burnham character who's the silent, like not rock the boat type, the lawyer, who's like there's a system in place, money, power, prestige with Forest University, or I guess is that even a place? What are they trying to do? Wake Forest, or is that a real place? Doesn't matter. The point is like that whole.
I don't think that's a real college.
You know, and then you know, doctor versus dropout. Yeah. And what that means about society. You know, Bo Burnham calling her a failure. Yeah. It's like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Like, tell me how you really feel. Yeah. You know, like, you know, that type of shit. That's real shit. Like, that people judge you on. And you're like, well, what are the, you know, reasons that you succeeded and I had to drop out, you know? Yeah. It's not as black or white or, oh, you finished and I didn't. It's like, okay, well, what are the factors behind that?
So what I said about like the casting of this movie, of kind of
perfect.
Yes, but
literally everybody.
Every kind of bad character is like recognizable as an actor we know from somewhere.
Pretty exaggerated. I mean, like,
well,
not saying these character types don't exist, but they're like on 10. You know, they're like, we are the bachelor party douchebags.
Well,
like,
what I was saying of like, especially with Max Greenfield, who's the best friend character, who I guess you don't really know that actor, though.
He looked familiar.
Okay, so he's in a lot of like, he's on the show New Girl, which is a very popular show, but he's in a lot of stuff where he's...
Is the Zooey Deschanel show? That's not still on, is it?
It might be.
Jeez. That's been around for a minute.
He's and even Chris Lowell, who's Al Monroe, who he was on Veronica Mars for a while. Oh, okay.
It's another old one.
They're known for like playing the kind of lovable best friend characters.
Okay.
Emerald Fennell purposely casts actors who are known for being the lovable best friends, who are known for normally being like funny, likable characters, because the entire point is, I mean, I guess if you don't know these actors, then maybe it would be interesting, but you know Bo Burnham, and Bo Burnham is the same concept, basically.
He's a talented motherfucker.
No, I agree.
He's a talented motherfucker. Sorry, go.
You see these actors, and you immediately want to like them. And you immediately want to, like, assume the best in them. We don't want to, like, think Bo Burnham is a shitty person, especially since we know Bo Burnham. You know him as the lovable comedian Bo Burnham, and you see him in this movie, and he's kind of, for the beginning, he's playing a, you know, Bo Burnham-esque character.
He's basically only an asshole right at the end, and he's only an asshole because she's hurting his feelings.
Yeah. But that's the point, and we don't want to believe that he's a bad guy. Right. And kind of that's how this world treats these characters they don't want to believe that they're
But the reason the Bo Burnham character is interesting is because he's really he's not really a bad guy. He's a flaw. No, he's not, though. You can't say that. I know we could say it on camera to make everyone feel happy, but we could actually tell the truth, which is he's a complicated person who his actions lead to a systemic problem. But on paper, you go, this is why it's complicated, because he's not out to fucking... He doesn't wake up in the morning like the other character who's burning a fucking body.
Yeah.
That's one extreme. They're showing the other extreme. They're showing the other side, which is like, no, like, by you not taking an action and speaking up, it could have an effect that's just as detrimental. Obviously not as burning a body, as extreme as that, but as detrimental, that leads to a problem that could be just as bad.
I mean, I think that where Bo Burnham's evil comes in is that he's a coward. Is that basically
right. Exactly?
But the famous saying of like there's two types of evil people. There's the evil people who do evil things, and then there's the evil people who see evil things being done and don't do anything about it. He's the second type of person, he shows his true colors at the end, because the detective comes to him at the end, and he knows where Cassie
I'm not talking
was
about
going.
the end. I'm talking about like the... I mean, no, you're right. Like
he shows his true colors at the end.
When he gets to the point where he's like just lying to the police, that's obviously over, but
I feel like
that character on paper is more of like a inaction leads to big problems, as opposed to like, I'm gonna wake up and kill someone today.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is, like, with that last scene, he's showing his true colors, because that's kind of who he's been the entire time, of like he'd rather like lie and not rock the boat than put himself in any type of jeopardy, then rather than he witnessed a rape happen when he was in college, that rather, like, he's more concerned that someone might have got him on camera in the background than
that's true.
With the fact, and he's more concerned with his own reputation than the fact that his girlfriend just went missing and was probably killed by these guys. But what I was saying about we want to assume the best in these actors, because we know these actors, because these are someone that if you've watched one of their shows or one of their stand-ups, you kind of have a pre-existing relationship with. And like with Max Greenfeld, if you're a fan of New Girl, where like he's hilarious on that show, or you've watched Community, because the character Madison, who's the friend from college, is Allison Brie from Community. And Allison Brie, like, if you've watched any of her shows, she's always like the sweetheart character, and she's always like the best friend who's like shoulder you cry on. And she's purposely casting actors who you want to assume the best in. And I thought that was insanely interesting, because it's basically like how you view this actor is how the world views this character. No one wants to believe that Al Monroe is a bad person. No one wants to believe that. Al Monroe's a great guy, just like Max Greenfeld, the actor. Like, no one wants to assume that he's a bad person. No one wants to assume he's capable of that. And that's kind of the trick Emerald Fennell does in your mind, of just like, well, you can't just look at this as a fun guy and I want to assume the best of him. You have to look at like what he's actually doing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I thought there's a lot of great stuff in this movie. I don't know about the red ink is interesting. She definitely has the potential for violence. The one scene in particular of like, there's one scene when she's kind of stopped in the middle of the road, and she's blocking the road, and the one dude drives up behind her and then drives next to her,
Yeah.
and she kind of takes out a golf club or a baseball bat.
I've had this fantasy many times.
Exactly.
I just unload on a fucking F-150.
And
like, oh, really?
I feel like she has the ability for violence, but I don't know. See, I don't know what the red ink is supposed to mean. I mean,
I think it means they're dead. Why is that so? I don't think that's really complicated. I think she's killing people.
I don't know. I feel like it's.
I feel like she's killing people that went over the line.
That went over the line.
That's what I think. Yeah.
That maybe like you're not worth saving.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
All right. So I want to talk about how great McLovin was.
Another one of we want to assume we don't want to assume.
I never liked McLovin.
Well, all right, fine.
I never liked him. I wanted to shove him into a locker the first time I saw him when I saw Knocked Up or whatever, Superbad. But anyway, first of all, man, he's aged a little. Like I know Superbad was a while ago, but he looks pretty rough.
I mean, yeah, but he was only like what 20 in Superbad.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like, I was kind of like, damn, like what happened to him? Maybe he parties
now?
A lot.
Yeah, maybe. I have no idea.
But anyway, he fucking played, or maybe they had him made up like to look like that for that role. But he fucking nailed that shit. I love how. By the way, do you know what Consider the Lobster is? When he's like, you should really check out Consider the Lobster. So it's a short story by David Foster Wallace, and it's funny because when we used to be on tour back in the day with my old band, we had a copy of Consider the Lobster and like went around. It's like one of those like books you read when you think you're deep, like.
Oh.
So it was just really funny, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm working on my novel, like, but I'm such a perfectionist that like I'm like, oh my god, I know these type of people."
It was hilarious.
And he's doing blow, and then he's like, he's like, the whole thing takes place over one night in New York City, and I'm just like, oh my god, like the amount of like just people at an open mic night or like people at a bar who are like, yeah, I'm working on a novel, and you're like, dude, I've met scores of these people.
I love his he says the line of like, it's just fucked up and it's about what it's like to be a guy right now.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's just ironic because like, like how much shit Cassie has been through at that point. And It's just like, bro, you don't know the fucking half of it. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. It's about what it's like to be a guy right now. Wow. Like, bro, that scene is hilarious because I like how it shows like different types of shitty dudes, because you have the guy from the first scene who's kind of like, I guess, alpha male-ish. Like he's wearing nice clothes, and you see like
the business bro.
Yeah, he's a business bro.
He's a
exactly.
Business bro. Yeah. They're actually talking about like, hey man, like they're talking about closing deals.
They're talking about closing deals, and they're talking about like they keep going to this golf course that doesn't allow women, and like that's the reason why the one woman who works with them like can't close whatever she's working on.
Right.
And
it's an entertaining podcast. I just yawned. That's got to be fun to watch, right, guys? Whatever.
And
it's free content, all right? You're getting it for free.
You have the business bro, and then you have like the polar opposite with the McLovin character, where like they're both shitty dudes, but they're shitty in like the polar opposite ways, because like the McLovin character is
he's like a fake artist.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like a fake artist. There's a lot of fake art. See, art is not about doing cocaine, folks. It's not about pretending you're, the next David Foster Wallace. It's about actually doing something. Whoa! Wow!
He believes
what a concept.
He's Moondog.
What a fucking concept! It's about doing things. A lot of people actually need that bulletin. But yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, New York City, not just New York City, but a lot of places, like, it's filled with folks like that, or just anything, film, writing, music.
No,
you name
I've 100%.
It's just these posers who are faking the funk, and they just wanna, they just they're posers. I mean, they really are posers.
I don't even really know David Foster Wallace.
Yeah, he's kind of like he wrote Infinite Jest. That's like his big thing.
I know I've heard of that, but isn't he like the guy that like people it's like what you said, like people think it's deeper than it actually is?
I think David Foster Wallace like himself is respected, but he's kind of been like co-opted as like the symbol of like literary bro.
Gotcha.
You know, like
there's the business
like the
bro and
the joke is like,
bro.
you know, everyone's got that copy of Infinite Jest who like thinks they're deep or something. Like,
right.
There was a movie who's the guy from How I Met Your Mother? Not Neil Patrick Harris.
Jason Segel.
Yeah, he played David Foster Wallace in a movie. I actually watched it on a plane one time.
Weird.
It was pretty good. But David Foster Wallace, like, I don't know, he's got some cool talks and shit like that on YouTube, but apparently he was like a big douchebag in real life. So,
I don't know, maybe.
Who knows?
I mean, I guess a lot of writers kind of are.
I don't know. But yeah, it's I'll be honest, like watching this like movie, in my head I wanted to be like, oh, come on, like this is not what I'm not gonna say. Not all men, but it does like, oh my god, these are the worst depictions. I get that that's the point, but yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's kind of the point.
They're very exaggerated. I understand there's people like that. I'm not saying there isn't, but it's like it's brutal to watch these fucking douche bros.
No, well, when the point of the movie is kind of about shitty guys and how they get away with it, you can't really, like, I mean, you can't really get mad that there aren't a lot of good male characters in it.
I'm not getting mad. I'm just, it's just, like, tough to watch.
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh my God,
I get you.
It's brutal.
The father character was pretty supportive.
He was a sweet guy. By the way, that mom was from The Sopranos.
No, American Pie.
American Pie? Wait. Remember like
I don't remember the actress.
Hold on. Remember the woman in The Sopranos who was in the New York family somehow, and she was like,
that's not her.
You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
Who Frank Vincent's character robs.
Who's Frank Vincent's
and
character?
He's like, hey, she any good at sucking dick? Oh, you probably taught her.
That's not her. That she's from. She's Stifler's mom from American
I never
Pie.
got into all that shit.
Really?
No, see, to me that was like bro culture.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was like 12 and I just wanted to like watch a rated R movie, so I got into American Pie. No, she's from the American Pie ones, but you know, once again, and a lot of this movie like helps from the fact that it was like shot in LA, because when you shoot in LA, where like a lot of these actors like live in general, like you can get them cheaper because they only have to like drive out for one day.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Obviously, like if you're shooting somewhere,
if you don't have to fly someone out for New York,
put them up
it's
somewhere,
going to be much cheaper for them. And if you're shooting by where an actor lives, they're going to be more likely to
accept it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Chris Lowell and Max Greenfeld, they could have shot all their scenes in one day.
Oh yeah,
they're not in the movie for that long.
A lot of the characters really aren't. Like they just have like a scene or two.
And which is also crazy considering the fact that like pretty much every character is a known actor. I mean, the Dean of Students is Connie Britton.
I mean, to you, not to like me.
Maybe not to you.
Yeah. I'm the commoner
Laverne
on the
Cox
podcast.
is, the best friend. I also like Carey Mulligan. I like as an actress, but I like her. I like the choice,
main actress.
Yeah, is Carey Mulligan. Because Carey Mulligan has also kind of been like, she's always kind of been like the best friend or the love interest. Okay. And I never really see, like, she was in She was Daisy in Great Gatsby. I believe she was like the love
Shout out to
interest.
Richie Keeshan.
Richie Keeshan worked on Great. Yes.
See, this is what we deal with when we do the nature shows. This is a nature show, by the way. It's not a podcast. It's a fly.
She was the love interest in Drive, I'm pretty sure. But I feel like I never really saw her as the lead actress, and I think kind of this might be more for like the people who are like super into film who know who Carey Mulligan is, because I feel like she's not a super popular actress. She's a character who was kind of defined by her best friend. Like she was defined by kind of Nina, who like she says like our entire life, like she was always the star and I always looked up to her or whatever, and she's doing this for her best friend who has passed on.
Right.
And I feel like casting an actress who's more known for being the supporting character, I think is very interesting.
I mean, could it have been a choice of, like, I could get this person because I could offer her a starring role and she hasn't had one?
Maybe.
That sort of thing. Because that's a reality of, like, casting, right?
Maybe.
Like,
maybe.
I mean, she killed it.
No, I think she 100% killed it.
I hope she gets, like, more starring shit from this.
Well, I love kind of, like, the design in general of Cassie, her like her wardrobe in general, because she's not like,
it's all over the place.
Well, my thing was they could have made her like the basic like femme fatale of like she's dressed in mostly black, of like the tough girl, that kind of archetype and that kind of wardrobe. And Cassie dresses more like a girl's girl. She dresses a lot more feminine than like calling Cassie a like femme fatale, even like in general, sounds weird, but like she's not
a femme fatale. Yeah. She's a femme fatale. Velvet Underground, son. Shout out to Lou Reed.
She's not dressed like the classic like girl out for revenge. And she, the whole like aura, there's kind of this pinkish neon like aura that kind of surrounds the entire movie.
Like a Harley Quinn thing going on at the end.
Yeah. With the blue hair and everything.
She looked all right there. She looked all right.
Yeah. The final. So what's your thoughts on like the ending final scene? Because I think.
The wedding scene or the
no. The when Cassie is killed. I think she went there expecting to die. I think that
she obviously knew it was a possibility because she wrote notes to everybody.
Yeah. But I think like that was part of her plan altogether.
I don't know. That's it. See, the fact that you are gonna make that jump, like she went there knowing she's gonna die, but yet you're not comfortable enough saying that she kills people. Like, to me, it's way more clear that she clearly is. It's way more clear that she's killing people than it is that she went there to die. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong or vice versa. I'm just saying, to me, it's interesting how we could like kind of have those different perspectives. I didn't know that it was clear that she was going to die. I get your argument. It's not that it doesn't make sense, and it could possibly be the truth. Why do you say that? Because of the backup plan?
Because of the backup plan, but not only that, like, it feels like if the Al getting arrested at the wedding is the backup plan, that feels like more in line with what her goal is rather than like her carving the words rapist into him. Because she ties him up and like is kind of saying, I'm gonna carve like or Nina's name into you or something. To me, like, that kind of mutilation just doesn't feel in line with, like, what her purpose for doing this is. I mean, maybe it's so that, like, he can constantly, like, remember that he's a piece of shit, but I feel like the idea of just showing the world and showing all these people who are constantly singing your praise that actually you're not a good person who made one mistake. Look at what you're capable of.
No, I know.
Look at what this
we've
person
made
is
that point a
capable
bunch of times already.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I just think that the end was it just was weird to me. Not that it was weird, it was unexpected. I didn't expect her to die. But again, that's been a theme. It really has been. Like, as far as not the protagonist dying, but like all these movies that come out like 2019, 2020, 2021, like it's not, unless it's like the Fred Hampton movie where we know what happens because it's, or the Trial of the Chicago 7 because we know what happens. If it's like one of these like fiction movies, it's not, you don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Maybe that's been evident to you, like, because you're a film person, but for me, like, this is the most I've watched movies on a regular basis in years because of the show, and that's what I'm finding is like I've been surprised with a lot of the
endings are kind of getting more depressing, or just I don't know, because honestly, the first time I watched it, I didn't. The first time I watched it, I was more in line with, I guess, what you were saying of, in general, I don't like when the main character dies at the end. Like, in general, I always kind of felt like it was kind of a cop-out way to end a movie of, like...
Really?
Yeah, of kind of like... It feels like we don't know how to end this, so we have to have the main character die so that we have an ending. Or, like, they feel like their ending isn't strong enough, so they need to make somebody die to, like, cement things.
You think she had multiple endings prepared?
I don't know if she had multiple endings prepared, because I know Emerald, like, Fennell has said, like, that was always going to be the ending, but that... the original ending was going to be she gets killed and they get away with it because that's kind of like what the system is, because that's what the system is of basically like,
well, that's why I was saying that would be more representative of the problem continuing,
of these privileged people are constantly doing horrible things and just getting away with it, and not only getting away with it, like people don't even, like, recognize that they did something wrong. That's one of, like, most shocking things of, like, Al Monroe knows he's a rapist, but he still believes that he's a good person.
Well, I mean, I'm sure, like, Bill Cosby has figured out a way to think, or he might be just a complete psychopath or sociopath. Yeah. But the point is, like, people play mind games on themselves just to justify their own existence, because it's almost like a survival technique. It's just like, well, I have to keep living. I'm not going to kill myself. So how do I just, rationalize my behavior in my mind to make it seem like I could live with myself, Yeah,
I feel like that's a lot of, like, what Cassie is doing, too, is kind of, like, breaking the mind game in people's minds of, like,
well, they all do it. The defense attorney, I'm just doing my job. I get hired to do or the dean, she wants to remain in her position of power. So, I'm sure there's people that are making donations that she has to keep happy, and you don't want to rock the boat there. It's Bo Burnham's character. Oh, well, I don't want to lose my career of being a doctor. So everyone's selfishly motivated.
Right.
And that's how a lot of society operates. So it's not. No. It's obviously not far-fetched.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, dude, not to get like crazy off topic, but like, you know, I was in a car accident a couple years ago, and I don't know how I should say this publicly, but I'm involved in a lawsuit because of it. And I could just tell you, man, like from seeing the inside of the system out as far as the insurance companies are concerned, dude, the level of corruption that is involved is unfucking believable and really depressing. Yeah. So you have different insurance companies that have different financial interests. You know, one has an interest in me, the other has an interest in the other party. They each have their own set of doctors that say their own. Yeah, they have, you know, Geico has their set of doctors, State Farm has their set of doctors, and these are doctors that give opinions that just so happen to coincide with the interest of Geico and the interest of State Farm. That's corruption. That's like,
yeah,
you know, a lot of the world is just based on fucking corruption.
Yeah,
I know that's not breaking news, but when you see the inside of it like that, it's really depressing. Look at the I don't think we covered it on this show, but the college scandal. Did you watch that documentary?
I haven't yet.
It's fucking great.
With Lori Loughlin.
Yeah,
with the college admission.
Dude, yeah.
Where, like, wasn't that like just the tip of the iceberg? Like, it went like way further than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was one of many people who were involved in this scheme. You know, she wasn't an organizer in the scheme. She just paid into the scheme to have her child.
Gotcha.
You know, get into it. I forget. I think it was Stanford, or I forget. But the documentary, it's all true. Like,
yeah.
And the whole documentary uses actual transcript of, you know, things that are related to the case. So it's not like they didn't like write a script. It's all, but it's interesting. But you know, you see how corrupt the college admission system is with these Ivy League schools.
Exactly. Well, like, I mean, I think kind of. Maybe it's touched a bit on in the movie, but it's definitely not a major theme of just like the fact that these colleges are like protecting their own interests.
Yeah.
I mean, look at like the Brock Turner situation of just like he basically got the lightest sentence ever because of like who his family was, of the fact that they had like donated to the schools, I think was the case. But
I vaguely remember that. I don't really.
Well,
remember.
The Brock Turner was like the reason this movie is called Promising Young Woman is because of that line from the Brock Turner case.
Oh.
Of the judge basically, the judge said the line, he doesn't want to like ruin the life of a promising young man, because like he was the star athlete who raped a woman, who raped a young girl. And that they were basically more concerned about not ruining this promising young man's career.
Doesn't sound very promising.
Yeah, then they were then they were like, you know, the safety and like the health of this young woman. But that's where Emerald Fennell got the name of this movie from.
Oh, okay.
Was that because the judge literally used the word promising young man.
Yeah.
So that's why.
How does that girl's family feel? Like, oh, really? Promising, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't so promising when my fucking daughter was passed out, and wasn't that the one where he like it was like behind a dumpster or something?
Behind
crazy
a dumpster, shit. And two other students saw him and basically chased him, like away from her.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's some sick shit.
It is some. Sick,
I don't get.
He got like what, 3 months? He got like 3 months for it. Yeah. So like, I mean, yes, there are good men. Obviously, there were the two other male students who chased him away. But I mean, look at the system that just lets him. let's like someone like Brock Turner just like exist and get away what he's doing and then go on into the world believing that he's a good person who just made one bad mistake. And I think that was kind of Emerald Fennell's goal of the movie. These aren't mistakes, you know. You're not, what, I'm a good person deep down. Well, what actions have you done to prove that? Oh, every action you've done in your actual life is shit. Well, then guess what? Deep down, you're not a good person. You know, Bo Burnham believes that he's a good person, but every chance that he's had to do something good, he backs down because he's a fucking coward. Because what, deep down I'm a nice guy because I'm super nice and patient to the girl I'm trying to bang. Like, no, sorry, fuck off.
That's a good place to
All right. Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell. Watch it. It's great. All right. So, this has been Movies by McManus. You know our deal by now.
Hey, you know the deal.
Greg,
hey, YouTube's been
Mike.
nice to us.
So, if you like this podcast, check out our YouTube channel. I do like 10 to 15-minute breakdowns of each kind of subject we're talking about each week. You get clips from our podcast, the long-form video of our podcasts. Check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Anything else? On Spotify? No. On what else? What else are we?
Apple Podcasts,
Yes.
Anywhere you find podcasts, from what I understand. Libsyn support. Get your act together. I've emailed you a number of times about an issue. It's still not taken care of.
Yeah.
Please take care of it, because I know you're going to see this because we're the biggest show in the world. But in all seriousness, we've been, thank you for downloading the show.
Yeah.
I forget where we're at. We're at like 1,300 or something downloads. We surpassed 1,000 a while ago, but don't quote me on that. We might be at like 15. The YouTube algorithm is slowly
catching up, and
rewarding us.
It's our conspiracy theory ones that are shooting up.
I see that. No. Well, I don't know if it's that or just that's the first episode we did.
Maybe.
So it's been in the system and it's filtering around. But it's been filtering. Like, I look on the analytics and like we're getting into the browse section now, which means like it's showing up on people's home pages.
Okay, good.
Which is cool. Another one that's been going, we have like a Harmony Korine clip.
Yeah.
That's like over 500 views.
Yeah.
Hopefully I know that's funny because that's 500 views. That's actually pretty good for us. But you know what? We're not here to fucking swing our cocks and be like, hey, listen, we got fucking 10 million views on this thing. We're trying to actually just. You like that one, James?
James is here.
We're happy to be here and doing this, and the Charles Manson, our first podcast ever has like over 1,000 views now. It has like 1,000 something.
That's right.
So we could put a bunch of ads behind our shit and blow it up and make it look like we have tens of thousands of views, but we're going au naturel. We put a couple of ad dollars behind a couple of things, but
on the Golden State Killer one.
On that one.
All right.
But anyway, this is my long rambling way of saying thank you for
downloading,
listening, watching on YouTube. YouTube warlords, do not flag us for COVID misinformation and take our channel down. All right, we're both fucking vaccinated. Okay, we're part of the club. So I'm gonna stop talking now.
This has been Movies by McManus. Promising Young Woman. Have a good night.